What up, guys? I'm Andrew, serial entrepreneur, software engineer, and junk removal business owner. I started a junk removal business as a stepping stone to return to my passion of technology and apps. I invite you guys to stick around, hang out, join me on my journey from becoming a junk removal business titan to building a billion-dollar home services app. I start my day between 4:30 and 5:30 a.m. I wake up pretty freaking early, and the first thing I do is I make a coffee, but Swiss water, which is very important because I can't do caffeine. Caffeine fucks with me. And then I immediately just check my notifications and get on the computer and start working. I don't do any of that gratitude journals. I don't do any of the ice plunge baths. I don't do any of the meditating, or I do want to start working out in the morning, and that's gonna happen soon. But I get straight to work, dude. It's an interesting story because I've been a software engineer my entire life. I've been a programmer since the age of 10. I've been coding I'm 35 now, so 25 freaking years, right? I raised $2 million for one of my apps a few years ago. We got on the Planet of the Apps, Apple TV's first actual TV show, by the way, which is very interesting, called Planet of the Apps. Was supposed to compete with Shark Tank, was a total fucking bust. Apple did one season of it, and yeah, it tanked. So I was building a travel app, and we raised $150,000, my business partner and I, in February of 2020. We all know what happened in March of 2020, the pandemic. So building a travel app that was meant to travel the world with friends was it was dead. But we convinced our investors, and they actually wanted their money back. I was like, no, we can't do that. You just signed a safe agreement. The pandemic, it'll be done in a few months. 3 months go by, the investors are like, hey, what's going on? I don't know when this is gonna end. And then 6 months go by, they ask me again, and it's like I'm Dr. Fauci. I don't know. Finally hits the 1 year mark. We burned through almost all 150. I didn't know what to say anymore. I was just like, dude, this pandemic has to end someday. So I made it about a year and a half on that $150,000 working on Gypsy. I was down to my last few $1,000s, and I was like, we just had a kid. Me and my girl, we just had a second kid. He's 1 year old at this point. We're down to our last few $1,000s, and I am just like, I need to figure something out. I don't want to go programming for some corporate guy. I don't want to go get a corporate job and having to program for somebody else and doing Zoom meetings all day. I just didn't want to code unless it was my own project. It's just, and to be honest, I've never had a job. I've had one job at Micro Center when I was 15, 16 years old for a few months, and then I quit. So I didn't want to go get a programming job, and I couldn't do another app because that's not going to bring money fast enough to pay rent. We were living COVID-free, the whole rental program for a while, so I was able to delay the rent payments for a while, but it was getting to the point where they're like, hey, you need to fucking pay because the COVID rental program is about to end. So I hit up a couple of my friends, like, dude, how do I make money? I was like, I don't want to get a programming job. I just want to start. And he was like, dude, start a junk removal company. I used to make $60,000 a month. He was the one who inspired the idea. And I remember when he told me about junk removal 4 or 5 years ago, I kind of laughed because it was like, I thought I was better than picking up trash. And he was making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. And he tanked his company because he's a crazy party animal. So he fucked his companies off. And then he wanted to start a company with me. He was like, Andrew, you do all the technical stuff. You build the website, you run the ads, you do all the back end stuff. He's like, I'll start on the truck. I'll do the truck part. We'll go 50-50 partners. And that was the plan. And then he fucked up again. And I was like, yeah, I can't partner with this guy because he kept drinking and fucking shit up. I was like, okay, I can't go into business with this guy. So I did the junk removal business by myself, even though he was the one who turned me on to it. We're supposed to go 50-50 partners, but he kept fucking up. So I YouTubed and watched so much YouTube videos, and they were all like, how to make $1,000 a day, how to make $500, how to make $30,000 a month. And I was like, you know what? I'm going all in on junk removal. And that's what I did. And I went all in, and yeah, it's doing good. It's doing great. It's doing fantastic. Usually I am not on the truck at all anymore, but when a big job comes up last minute, you know, I'll go pick up one of our third trucks or another truck for the crews to help out. We just closed 7 truckload job, so I'm picking up our second dump truck, taking it to them. They're gonna do 7 loads. It's $6,500 job. Usually I'm off the truck, working at home, doing everything behind the scenes, but when we get big jobs like this, I have to jump back on the truck and help out. But I'm just gonna drop off the truck. I ain't doing any of the labor. I've paid my dues, no more labor for me. I think this will be my biggest day ever outside of a big contract. Like we did a demo job for 30 grand that took 5 to 7 days. We're doing our biggest contract ever, which we're doing currently, which is 115 grand. That's gonna be a 3-week contract. But as far as residential spots, like our normal day-to-day, I think we're gonna clear 10,000 today. My biggest day ever is 9,500, so this should be our biggest day. Clearing out all of this, right? Yeah. All of this, and then we're clearing out the house.
Yeah, the house.
Are you good to work all the way until late?
Yeah.
Cool. We just brought the second dump truck for my guys, but they're not here. They're at the dump. Both of them left.
No, just one.
Oh, you're Rick.
Yeah, I'm Rick.
Oh my God. Are you comfortable just going to the dump with him? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Bingo bongo. Problem solved. What's really cool about junk removal, this is not a good find, but I'm just gonna show you guys. Van Wilder, great fucking movie. Wizard of Oz, Garden State. I forget the numbers of 2021. September, October, November, December. Those 4 months. I don't remember, but I think it was under 100. I gotta double check. But 2022, we did 1.1 million in sales. You know, just because you make 1.1 million in sales does not mean you're a millionaire. And it also doesn't mean that the business is worth $1 million. And this is something I want to talk about because I see a lot of people in the junk removal Facebook groups talking shit. And a lot of people are actually upset. You know, it's all these YouTubers exposing the industry, like claiming they make 6 figures, claiming they did $1 million in sales. All right, motherfuckers, I'm gonna be the first person to post my tax returns and show you guys that I did 1.1 million in sales. If you look at any of my videos, you can clearly see me log into every single dashboard and panel. It would be impossible for me to fabricate the numbers. It'd be, as far as I know, in YouTube world or in all these Facebook junk removal groups, there's like, between all the junk removal groups, there's probably like 50,000 people combined. There's a lot of people commenting on people's videos and I see them mention my name, they don't believe it because I'm the first, I can't be the first, but in the YouTube world, the first person to hit 1 million in a year. Doesn't make sense. And I don't believe it because it was between 14 and 15 months I hit 1 million in sales, but most people don't even hit 100K their first year. So the fact that I hit 1 million just kind of sounds kind of insane. My apartment's $6,000 a month. I hit 1 million in sales. And I live in Playa Vista, not trying to be braggadocious or cocky or anything, but I am excited to show you guys tax returns. Also, like I said, what I want to reiterate is just because you do 1.1 million or whatever in gross sales doesn't even mean your company's worth $1 million. I ran some rough numbers. I'm between 20 and 30%. So let's take the low end, 20%. That means I made $200,000. I paid myself $150,000. That means the company made 200, paid me 150, so the company made 50. You know, if I made $250,000, if I made 250 and I paid myself 150, the company made 100,000 after paying out me. And in the home services land, as far as I know, you can sell your business if it runs itself at 3 times. In tech world, it's completely different. You can sell your company for 10 to 15 times its value in tech land, right? You get funded by venture capital firms and you completely different. But in home services land, you can sell your business at 3 to 4 times net profit. Meaning, even though I did 1.1 million gross in sales, I want to be honest with you guys, just so you know in the future too, like how this works is the net profit. So after I paid me out, if my company only made 100 grand, I'd be lucky to get, if I were to sell it, 300,000. Long story short, just shy of 1.1 million gross profit 250, paid myself 150, the company made 100. and I'm gonna post tax returns, motherfuckers. I was on the truck for technically 6 months, not the whole time. I got into this business knowing I wanted to get off the truck. I didn't want to be an owner-operator for too long. Going into this business, you should plan on being an owner-operator for a year if you want to do this correctly. Unless you have a good portion of savings that you're willing to invest, you don't want to get off the truck too fast. I got off within 6 months, but I was on the truck fully for 3 months, hired my first employee on month 3 or 4, and I only hired one. So he was doing it all by himself. I feel so bad, it's so dumb. And he would call me when he needed me to come help him. And then eventually I hired 2 guys, but you should always have 2 guys on the truck, never just one. So it was probably about 6 months until I was fully off. And it forced me to be active. Yeah, just active and exercise, because now, which we're gonna get into, I kind of just sit on the computer now. Take phone calls, sit on the computer. It forced me to be active, and I got home and I felt like I worked out. I slept really good. The amount of times I picked up shit and urine and fucking, but it pays. Now that I'm off the truck, I do just operations. Getting off the truck is the first part. That's the best part to get. Like when you finally get off the truck and you have enough work to run the truck entirely with 2 employees, 7 days a week, feels awesome. The second best part is getting off the phones. I don't know if you remember when we were filming, my phone was ringing every 5 fucking minutes. It got to the point where the phones were unbearable. And that's what happens when you're trying to scale and grow. So I had 1 truck, launched a 2nd truck. So I have all calls coming in for Ventura, calls coming in for LA, minimum 30 phone calls, up to 70 calls a day. So once I got off the phones, and I built my own little mini call center, which is super cool. I have my own call center, and I hired from the Philippines and trained them. And they don't have. I picked the ones with the least accent, so it just, you can't even tell honestly. And they're trained so awesome now. Now I can focus solely on operations, which I'm gonna eventually get an ops manager to replace me. I'm on the phone all day still, but it's not like a constant annoying customers coming in every 5 minutes. It's more so like, if my call center people have a question like, hey, how much should we charge for this job? And they send me some photos. Or my guys in the truck are like, hey, Andrew, I need you to refill the credit card so there's more. Hey, Andrew, these guys want 20%, should we do it? It's more like answering questions for employees. And then emergencies, if it happens, like we'll get a flat tire here and there. Sometimes the truck will break down, that happens. Basically just communication, and of course running payroll every 2 weeks, paying out tips, and just generally making sure we're making money and figuring out better ways to grow. And I do all that from, I'm not on the field at all anymore. It's awesome. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I basically just sit on the computer all day now. So, especially when you start a junk removal company, you're gonna be in front of a lot of customers, face to face. And you have to kind of be looking around their house. You have to talk to them about the price. I'm an introvert and I love, getting out. When I go out too much, I need to stay inside for a week or 2. Practice being able to talk to customers. I mean, if you're gonna start a junk business, there's good money in this business, especially if you're an owner operator in the beginning where you don't have all the expenses I do, call center, employees, you're off the truck completely. If you're on the truck and doing the phones, you'll make a lot of good profits. This sounds so cliche, but you need to have serious work ethic, because you have to answer the phone all fucking day, and then you have to be willing to go pick up shit. And it's so different, because it might just be furniture, and then the next day it might be concrete, and then the next day you might be doing a hoarder house with rat shit all over. You have to run your own operations, you have to run your own advertising, you have to take your own phone calls, but then you also have to go get in shit. And when I say shit, I'm not kidding. The amount of homeless camps we clean up, and I had shit spill on me. So number 2, sales, be good with people. Be good on the fucking phone, get good at sales. Yeah, so being willing to get dirty, working hard, and sales. And sales you can learn. Even if you're an introvert, you can get good. You can get good at sales. And being friendly on the phone, oh yeah, I just need to build a rapport and a connection. And then when you get on site, get them to build a connection, a rapport with them, make them laugh, just general sales, because half of the job is closing them on site. The ultimate goal, I think, for most of us is to eventually get to the point where the business runs itself. Because honestly, when you're an owner operator, you've just created another job for yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. You get to dictate your time and everything, but the thing is if you get sick from COVID for 2 weeks, you're fucked, right? I have a graveyard of failures, and most entrepreneurs do. That's what most people aspire to do, is finally get off the truck, have the business run itself. The ultimate dream, and I'm almost there. I'm not completely there, I'm almost there. I could still technically leave for a little bit. I mean, I can go on a 2-week vacation, everything would be fine, but I'd still have to be able to answer the phone and talk to the employees. I'd still have to be able to run their payroll. So the goal is this summer to be fully out of the business, like completely out of the business, and hire an operations manager. Owner operator, you're not a business owner, you're self-employed, right? Which is great. But most people want to get to the point where they're a business owner. I think the scariest thing that most people have trouble, besides you obviously got to get enough leads coming in, you have to have enough business coming in to support and sustain. So once you figure out getting enough business in, delegating, letting go of the power is the hardest thing for most people, because they're egomaniacs, control freaks, micromanagers. They complain like, oh, I don't trust them with my truck, or, I can't hire somebody to do phones. Most people are too scared to take that step. I said, fuck it. I hired 2 employees, take my truck. The first employees I hired were off Craigslist. Didn't even take their license. It was very stupid. Obviously, be more responsible than I was. I just wanted to get the ball rolling. I was like, I've been working with him for a couple weeks. I trust this guy. He's a great guy. He's been working with me. Take my truck. And then that was kind of the start of just letting him spread his wings on his own, and him running the truck for me. I guess long story short is delegation of power and not being a micromanaging egomaniac, control freak narcissist. So once you can learn how to outsource, it's as simple as that, is honestly just trust. That was all I did, is I slowly delegated tasks. Build a system, once you start getting these people trained, you need to get better at training people. So when you fire them, the next people you onboard, you train better and faster. So you have this system in place. Eventually my thing's gonna be all system, I'll be able to onboard people. They'll go through a 40-minute presentation watching videos of how to run the trucks and how to do it, and they're employed and they're trained, and then they know how to do everything before they even arrive on the job. I'm almost to that point. And then the second part that I did was I built my own call center. And then building your own call center is the way to go, because it's too expensive to have phone operators here. And now they all train each other. So if I had to fire one, they would just train the next one. And that's what I haven't trained somebody in a year. I bring somebody on, the crew trains them. Trust, delegation, systems, processes, and operations, I think they respect the freedom that they get, and they enjoy it and they like it. And also the fact that people tip so well. So I think they really do appreciate, the business and the freedom. There's so much freedom between the two and between me. There's no culture that I haven't started building yet, and that's something I'm working on, because generally speaking, there would be a place where we would all meet up, we'd have team meetings more often, and that's something that I'm kind of lacking. But I will say, I do intend on building culture. I'm just trying to figure out how, because we're so separated. They can have any day off they want. As long as they can find somebody to fill their time, I don't care what they do. The most difficult part is, honestly, it's putting out fires every day. It feels like something and that's the life of entrepreneurship. Gary Vaynerchuk says something that I really like. He says being an entrepreneur is like being a firefighter of business. Meaning there's constantly problems and things that just come up. The truck breaks down and you have 5 clients for the rest of the day, and then they're so fucking pissed. Another time is you have an employee who's getting pissed, or I have to fire somebody, then he's threatening to sue me. These are all actual scenarios. Wrecking my car, that happened. Losing just last week, fucker, sorry Chad, you're not a fucker, but locked the keys in the dump truck. Constant little things that come up, and there's sometimes bigger problems that you have to deal with too. Lots of bigger problems. So I would say The hardest part is just, it is very stressful. It's constantly stress running a business. My motivation for working so hard every day is, this is a simple one. I was just born with it. My first company was in 6th grade. Literally 6th grade. I had a little piece of paper that said flaming gold. I was a little kid, and I'd have mazes, and I'd make mazes. I don't know why people would buy a dollar, but some of the kids bought a maze from $1 on graph paper, and I'd have the sodas that my mom would give me. I'd bring them to school. I'd sell the sodas. We had little pens that we turned into little shooter pens, and it would shoot, and I'd sell stuff at 6th grade. Then into 7th grade, I started a skateboard company. I had my own decks by 8th or 9th grade, my own custom skateboard decks. I was freaking 12, 13 years old. I don't even know how I pulled this shit off, but I did. And I want to be in a mansion on the side of a fucking mountain overlooking the ocean. And I also want to take care of the people around me. And I think that's like why most people want to succeed. I'm always doing some form of work, whether it's barely just checking numbers and checking stats and maybe sending out a couple emails, but fucking rarely. It's 24/7, always working every day, at least get it an hour, but rarely, no days off. My plans now are to continue scaling Jedi junk removal. We're adding a truck to Colorado, 2 trucks, either next month, let's just say May, another truck in LA or Orange County, also in May, and then we're starting Jedi cleaners. There's 2 reasons why we're doing Jedi cleaners, is because I want to build another home services business so that I can show on my YouTube channel that I have now built 2 home services business, so that I can prove to people you can do any home services business you want, because I have the intentions of teaching people how to build a home services business. In my heart, deep down in my soul, I am a tech guy. So I truly do want to build a piece of software that millions of people use. I love tech. I've been a computer nerd my entire life. I sit on my computer 24/7. I see an opportunity on the home services software side. Basically my own field service management, FSM and CRM, customer relationship management software that I want to build for the world. So my goal is to build Dispatch, my software, apply to Y Combinator, get into Y Combinator, all while scaling Jedi cleaners, Jedi junk removal, my personal brand on YouTube, educating, to eventually bring all that full circle around to my app. So they all use my app, Dispatch, which will be $1 billion home services app. Y Combinator it's an accelerator that invests into usually startups, but they'll invest in anything really. It can be a startup, you can be on your Series A, you can be at any stage of your company, napkin to already making $100 million a year. They invest, but mostly startups. They are known for investing in so many successful billion-dollar Airbnb, Dropbox, countless others. You go through their schooling, they give you $500,000, and getting into YC is the equivalent of graduating Harvard. I landed an interview with YC, which getting an interview with them is even a big deal. You have a 2% chance of landing an interview.
Wow.
And I had an interview. It was a travel app, unfortunately, during COVID, and I didn't get funded. With Dispatch, we're gonna apply the end of this year for the winter batch, and hopefully we get in. Actually, we will get in. I hope you enjoy this video. We're kind of just freestyling it. I gave my boy Isaac back there a couple ideas, and we're just gonna see what comes. I hope you guys like this style of video. If you do like this style of video, please let me know. I wanted to give you guys kind of a behind the scenes look of what I do. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. Seriously guys, if you have any questions, comment down below. You know it helps the algorithm, and it lets me know that you guys like what I'm putting out. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you so much. Toodles!